I am super excited to have you on this program, a Hilly's Talk Show. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
You can if you think you can. Say something, somebody.
My name is Oisega Chasideo. You can if you think you can. It means believe is key. Thank you.
My name is Grace Williams. You can if you think you can. You can achieve possibilities with strong mindsets. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the answers to that teaser. You can if you think you can. To me, it's just a direct something. And of course, I want to summarize the answers we've all put together to self-confidence. Having self-confidence. Whatever you say to yourself is what you're going to do. If you think it in your mind, you will be able to put it on ground, on paper for people to see. So whatever you want to do in life, positively, it will work. Anything you also want to do in life, negatively, you can also do that. But what we teach here is positive thoughts. Because I, as a Hillis, I believe in possibility and positivity. And so you can do anything. You know, some time ago here, we treated about imposter syndrome. I don't know how many people will watch that. It's almost similar to this. Oh, I cannot do this. Man, don't finish. Oh, this. So I know I can't amount to anything. So those things shouldn't be. But whenever you make up your mind to do something, you do it and it works. Because you have already settled down in your mind. You have that self-confidence. You have the boldness to do it and you will do it. So don't go and do the one that is that's not legitimate. Don't go and say, I have the mind to join robbery. You'll be caught that same day. Or I had the mind to join kidnappers. I settled in my mind, I'll do it and I can do it. If I can do it, I can do it. No, that's not what we're talking about here. But believe in yourself. That's self-confidence. It happened to me when I was in school. My university was an adult university. That's to say that I didn't just, move to university after my school start. And my lecturer, the very first time, we're going to do course because I studied accounting, my first degree. Costing is one of the courses in accounting. The very first day the woman came to the class to introduce costing, it looked as if she's speaking Greek. I couldn't just make it out. I couldn't just place what she's saying. But I sat back and said, it's not a woman like myself that is doing this. Though she's a little bit older. That gave me confidence. I said, no, if she can teach costing, that mission, I will try. What did I do? I looked for some people in the class. Some people said, oh, yes, they were just following along. I looked like I saw someone. I said, okay. I met a guy. I said, please, can we study together? I want to know this. They didn't know. They were my mentor. Herself and the other one, I became head of department, HOD. It was only my thesis that I mentioned the name to acknowledge her. That she now knew that. I didn't know this woman was, I was her mentor. She was my mentee. So that's how it is. So you don't just complete something, I can't do it. Once you set up to do something, go along with it. And you see, it will yield positive. You'll be able to meet your goal and the objectives as youth coming on. Don't just fold your hands. So I think I've dwelled much on that. We'll continue with the study for today. The level of intolerance among young people today is escalating on a daily basis. We need to be a brother's keeper. Therefore, tackling the culture of youth intolerance is the topic for today's discussion. We'll run out for a short break. When we come back, the guest will be introduced. Please stay tuned. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, the topic again is tackling the culture of youth intolerance. And with me in the studio is a pastor, a clergy. Let's make welcome Pastor Francis Welt.
Vivid View.
Say and do it.
Before discussion proper, please follow us on social media handles are displayed on the screen. Francis, you're welcome again.
Thank you so much for
So
having
please,
me.
your brief introduction, definition, and perspective on the subject matter.
Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity. Looking at the topic of youth intolerance amongst young people, especially Africa and Nigeria as a focus, we're looking at the unwillingness of young people to accept certain beliefs or to respect certain cultures or certain things that they may not really have so much information about. So we're tackling these concepts, these ideas, these ideologies, not because we want to debunk them, but because we want to set a preference of understanding. We want to build understanding, because the truth is, when you lack knowledge about certain things, you tend to either react negatively to those things. Like the white man will say that people fear what they do not understand. So when you come into understanding, I think it emboldens you, it strengthens your convictions, and it opens up your mind more to other perspectives. So we're going to be looking at these things that make young people not want to tolerate or respect certain things, and we're going to be looking at how to help your mind to better adjust to the things that you have been seeing around you growing up.
Thank you so much. So as we continue, as we progress in the discussion, we'll be able to say a few things that our youth don't always agree with the elderly people, in quote, where they will say they are old school. And so as we continue in discussion, people will be able to know. They know whether you're going to remain like that in that box. We're not going to agree with them, or there could be some shift. That's why we are learning this. But if there's going to be some shift, I think that will do us a lot of good. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll continue. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
Welcome back. Discussing tackling the culture of youth intolerance. So, what is the misconception most youth have about culture intolerance and identity?
Well, thank you so much for that question. Looking at the misconception, it's referring to, for some of you, that word might be very big. It's just a misunderstanding, or something that you don't fully get, something that you're not really acquainted with. So I think that for young people, the number one misconception amongst us is the fact that we are young. Now, because of your age or our age, there are certain things that adults do that we cannot relate to, not because we don't want to, but because we are not there yet. As a youth, I'll tell you something that I've come to know. While I was growing up, there are certain things our parents taught us, they protected us from, they hindered us from doing. We didn't fully understand those teachings and those trainings then until we grew up to a certain level where we now teach even the younger ones after us. So the misconception there is you're young, that's why you don't seem
Can
to.
you give an example of that? Because I love what you say, we, yes, because you also know that you are a youth.
Definitely.
So I like that. So can you give us one example of that thing that some of things that your parents told you that you didn't understand then, but when you now start growing up, it becomes real to you?
Okay, for example, when I was young, our parents used to force us to brush our teeth. We it might look like a very small thing. No child wants to brush, because and sometimes the brushes that they even use might be very hard. But as you grew up, maybe when you were in SS1, SS2, and then you're talking to, for a guy, you're talking to a girl, and she's moving back. She's you now begin to understand why it's important that you have been trained to brush your teeth, and you begin to understand why it was part of the culture that was used to raise you. Looking at an example of also eating,
even bathing in the morning before
and in the
food,
evening,
and bathing in the night
after
some
food.
people say it's a disturbance.
It's a disturbance. Some young children then you have to force them to eat. Most children don't want to eat, except they feel that they already love food from you. For someone like me, I didn't always like food. My mom she would usually force me to eat, beg me to eat, persuade me to eat. But as I grew up, I started getting into activities that took my energy, and as I began to feel dizzy, nobody told me that I needed to start eating until So
that's a very good example.
So it's a culture. Why? Because they see life from the mountaintop. You have to understand this. There is an adage that I really love. Say what an elderly person will see sitting down. Says even if a child should climb the tallest mango tree, he may not be able to see it. Why?
But
Because
most of you don't understand that now. They tell us we are old school. Our own is gone. We are Gen Z. Well, I said earlier that it's old school that gave birth to the new school.
Definitely.
Do you understand? Because there's certain things you cannot really do away with old people.
Yeah,
There are certain you must, because they brought you to this life. They know better than you. I know, but when it comes to social media, all this internet, yes, people can know more than us because we didn't grow up with that. But when it comes to other morals and other behavioral patterns, we know better
Yeah,
as adults and as parents.
I agree with that. And I think one of the things that hinder young people from listening to older people is the fact that the older people, many of them, not all, but many of them are
Use force or harsh.
no, they're come to a place of static growth as well. It means that they don't grow, they don't improve, so they stick with what they know. Like even older people
Many years ago.
even older people have intolerance as well. You see, they don't adapt because
You make a good point here now.
life is constantly changing. Perspectives are constantly changing.
That's true.
You're looking at an elderly person that did not even live in the era where there were cell phones, that use landlines, compared to a child that is already operating a tablet and can create a website. So that young man may not be able to have so much impact on that child unless he develops his mind. So I think the solution...
In fact, they're even asking us, how do we even live? How do you live without phone? Cell phone? My grandchild asked me that.
Definitely. I was in my friend's house and I saw her child. You know, she was already pressing a tablet, and I looked at this lady and I knew that if I don't also constantly work on improving my mind, this young girl might grow up to be smarter than I am, because she's already exposed to things that I was never exposed to at
your age.
At my age, it was button phones, and we had very restricted access to button phones because it was our parents' phones. We had to either hide to press it or press it on special occasions. So now you're looking at a girl that has complete access. She knows what the internet is. She can open TikTok. She can chat, you know, and she's just 5 years old. Some 6. They are growing faster than us. So I think one of the things that I've used to also help raise those under me, even as a pastor, as a leader, as a brother, is the fact that you have to constantly keep learning. Because where there is no knowledge,
no end to education.
There's no end. Where there is no knowledge, there will be a collision of ignorance. Is ignorance or assumption is the poorest form of information. Have the exact knowledge about something. So I think in tackling the Gen Z youth intolerance, I would say that the ones above us, they stopped listening. And the truth is, if you stop listening, it means you stop learning. Because even the Bible says faith cometh by hearing. So you receive information by hearing, by understanding things. So you expose yourself to knowledge, the right knowledge, not the social media knowledge. Because most of the things you see on social media, it's not real. It's not real. It's forced. It's fake. But listen to your environment. The world is big. Yes, the world is big, but your world may not be so big. Some of you, your contact list is just 200 people. Some, you don't have up to 100 people. So listen to your world. Okay, look at the children around you. As a young person, start from where you are. Even Jesus Christ, before he told them to preach the gospel to all the ends of the earth, he said start from Jerusalem, then to Judea, then to Samaria, then on to the uttermost part of the earth. But you have to start from where we are. So I think in Nigeria, when we're tackling youth intolerance, we start from where we are. We look at the things that have infiltrated the minds of youth now. And I'll tell you, one of the greatest impacts in developing the minds of youth is the entertainment industry. Now, parents don't, even while I was young, they don't really pay attention to what we watch and what we listen to. So they don't even know what we know. Now, their music is different from our music. In our parents' days, I don't know, maybe King Sunny Ade was the Burna Boy of their time. But now we have different artists with different ideologies, and they push those agendas, their ideologies in their music. And then that's what the young people are watching. That's what they're listening to. When you sit down to watch some movies that young people watch, then you will now know how they are being wired. Because these things are done sometimes intentionally. And I say that because I've made research in this space. In fact, I'm thinking of writing an article, and the title of my article is The Drop of Good Morals in Nigerian Society, because I'm investigating how Nigeria as a society came to a certain space where we accept certain things.
Anything.
And the honest truth is, it didn't happen one day. It was a process of time.
Yes.
And nobody was noticing it. So I remember when I was growing up,
And it's like we're being overwhelmed now.
yeah,
somehow.
and we're being overwhelmed with the economic pressure. So a mother is thinking, what are we going to eat? A father is thinking, house rent. Firstborn is thinking, how do I meet up to the standard my parents are thinking? So everybody is already overwhelmed. Then the entertainment industry, they just teach us what we're not supposed to even learn. So pressures don't allow parents to really take note of what the children are learning.
Yeah.
And it's a default.
Yeah.
When I was young, my dad, he buys CDs, cartoons, but mostly cartoons. He just uses to keep us, busy. But then he told me one thing one day. He said, some of these cartoons I buy, I select them myself because they will teach you good English. So he sent me to school, of course, but he also knows that if you expose yourself to these cartoons that are made from Disney, these good platforms, you learn diction. And that's how I came to learn how to speak. I grew up in a very rough environment, but when I come out, people think I'm an ajebota. They think I'm a tush child, but I'm not. I'm just exposed to more things. While the children were watching Sunday Dagburu, they were watching different kinds of Yoruba movies. I was watching Western movies and cartoons. It made me see life from a different perspective. So when you look at the industry of movie and the industry of music, you realize that these are the spaces that truly raise young people. As a young person, I had an outreach to several schools in my community, and those outreach were to teachers. And here's what I told the teachers. I found out that the power to teach has been taken away from them. Many of them don't have that hold on their students. I said, you teach for hours on a whiteboard and it takes 3 months, and yet you still have more students fail your class than few pass your class. And yet Burna Boy releases one song, and in 2 days that same student knows the lyrics word for word. So I said, who is a better teacher? I said, Burna Boy is a better teacher than you. And the reason is because he has taken the power to teach that child. You need to have it back. So, and I told them that same thing that I think affected our parents. You're not listening. You're not observant. You're not growing. I remember my teacher, I won't say his name. The whole school knows this man's wardrobe because it's not a uniform. It's not a school uniform, but he has one shoe, he has one shirt, he has one trouser. The day he wore a different shirt, the entire school knew it was trending. This man wore a different shirt. And the honest truth is, nobody wants to be that. See, when we look at you, we look at our future. And when we see how you depict yourself, and it's not what we want to be, then you cannot influence us. So many of us look at our parents, and we don't want to be like our parents. That's why we don't listen to them. But you look at Burna Boy, he's in a flashy car, he's living the life. So definitely they will listen to those guys that look like what they want their future to be. So the issue was the older generation stopped aspiring. And one day I told my mom, I said, Momsi, I call her Momsi. I said, you cannot behave like you have arrived. You have not arrived though. You have to build, constantly build, because we look up to you. When you stop, it's supposed to be our starting point.
Exactly.
But if you settle, you will not be able to say, Francis, go left, and I will go left, because you're not fighting, you're not pushing, you're not trying to get better. You think you have it all, you know it all, you're not constantly growing or learning. And that's what brings about the intolerance, because we can't tolerate mundanity. Young people, they want to explore possibilities. I mean, we are hoping for a generation of flying cars one day. We're hoping for a generation of technological advancement that we only see in movies. So that's why someone like Mark Zuckerberg would definitely be someone that the youth look up to. Somebody that looks like what they want to become. So that's why I really encourage even the elder ones to also keep learning. Be a student. Never get to the point where you are no longer learning. The moment you stop learning, people stop learning from you. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. That is one of the reasons why we actually brought you to this now, to talk to people. Like I said earlier, I said when you talk to people, you understand. But there's some salient points you made here that we elderly ones, like mother, like me, shouldn't stop learning so that we can also measure up. Because if we just say, I've arrived, for instance, I've retired from public service since 2020 after working for 40 good years. Only one. There's I work for about 2-3 different companies, but 40 years altogether without stopping. I only go for maternity leave. That's the only time I have rest. And I'm now retired 2020. But I didn't stop. What I'm doing now, God gave me to do. I think that God also planned it so that I will continue to learn, because it makes me to learn. There's no topic I treated that I did not also Google to understand what I'm saying here so that I'll be able to contribute usefully. And that is learning. But one thing I have phobia for is this computer of a thing. I will say because of what you said, I'm challenged now, so that I can also improve myself. So that when we say that youth are intolerant, we'll be able to at least measure up to some extent. Okay, but outside that, there is still some area that youth themselves will not also believe that whatever they say is right. No. We still need some advice from our parents. Like you mentioned before, no matter the height you are, you know, there's a put that whenever whatever a boy climbs up to see or something, an old man will sit down and see something like that, So with this discussion is for us to, with the adult that they tag to be old school and the new school, which is the Gen Z, should be able to come to somehow a compromise. When the adults keep on learning, keep on improving themselves, because truly when you stop, your brain starts decaying. I have read it in social media too, that things you come to do even from 60 years old, so that you don't remain where you are. So if all the elderly ones will have this understanding too, then we'll be able to meet up with what our children are doing, because they really aspire high. That is quite right. But we want to also encourage people to emulate the good one, emulate the positive one, not negative, because like you mentioned, as a youth, not everything in social media are correct. Some of them are even being done now by AI. So you go think saying a human being, not be amo. They can even clone me like this, talking like this, think I'm Elise is the one saying, but whereas it's not even me. Do you understand? So we must see where we can also take a horse to some extent to say, are you sure this is real? No, I don't think I will go with this. I think I will listen to, so that the team will just work together. Thank you. We'll take a break now. Vivid View.
See and do it.